aloha. Welcome back to part 2 of my July 2021 The Adventure Begins series. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to create a magnet slider card. So let's go ahead and get started. In today's video, I'll be working with this piece here. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to remove the camper. So I'm going to just open this card up and then I'm going to just cut the camper off like this. And then I find it easier if you tuck the piece underneath like that and then you come underneath it and then you just cut straight across the back. Okay, so I removed the camper from the card base, so that I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a scrap piece of basic white cardstock. I'm going to lay my camper on the cardstock, and then I'm going to use a pencil and I'm going to trace it. Next, I'm going to take my scissors and I want to cut just on the inside of that line. Okay, so I finished fussy cutting it, and you'll notice that it really lost its shape because I did cut inside of the pencil line, and really it doesn't have to match perfectly. You just want to make sure that when you place it back here that you can't see it from the front side, okay? And it won't matter if it's a little bit uneven in the back. Okay, and then you can see I didn't cut this part out here. All right, so now that that's done, I'm going to keep these separated. I'm going to put them to the side. All right, so for the stamping on this card, we're going to start with a piece of basic white cardstock. This is 2 1/4 by 5 inches. And then we're going to be using some garden green ink and also black memento ink. Now, this is a card I'm making for a friend who just moved, so it's going to be a congratulations card. And so I'm going to start with my memento ink, and up in the top right corner here, I'm going to stamp the word congrats. And this comes in the paper pumpkin kit. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the tree image and we're going to stamp a forest. So I'm going to ink up my pad with the garden green ink, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp the tree right here, lift it up, and then I'm going to bring it down a little bit so that you have a tree in the background. I'm going to ink it up again, and I'm going to just change and lay that on there, let it breathe a little bit, and then we're going to stamp another one. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here, stamp a little bit taller tree, and then a little bit smaller one like that, okay? So you just want to make a nice background of trees. For our next step, I have a 1/2 by 5 inches of basic black cardstock. I'm going to use a ruler and just lay a ruler on there like that, right down the center. And then I'm going to use one of our chalk markers, and I'm just going to come across here, and I'm just going to put little dashes to make a road. I'm going to go over it twice to make the color a little bit brighter. Okay, so you're going to do that two times and make 2 roads. All right, so then the next thing that we're going to do is take out this piece again, and then we're going to add the road. For the inside of the card, I have 2 pieces of basic white cardstock. These have been cut at 2 by 5.5 inches. The first thing I want to do is I want to round the corner of these 2. So I'm going to stack them together. I'm going to be using my detailed trio punch, and I'm going to slide them in the punch and round out each corner. Okay, so for one of these pieces, I'm going to go ahead and just put it to the side. And then on this piece, we're going to do some stamping. So I'm going to use the road as a guide, and I'm going to place the road up here at the top, like this, okay? Because I want to make sure that I don't stamp anything in this area, so that's going to be my guideline. So I'm going to start with a sentiment. So I'm going to say, let the adventure begin, and let me ink up my stamp. And then I'm going to stamp that so that it's to the left of the end of the road. Okay? Okay, and now we're going to add some trees. So I'm going to ink up my trees, and then I'm going to just come in here and roll that on there, and then come and stamp a second one here. Okay, get some more ink on there, and then I'm going to roll it on again, and then stamp another one right there. And then I'm just going to do a little baby tree topper right there. So again, I want to make sure that I don't do any past that line. Okay, so that is done, and then we're going to take our road and we're going to go ahead and mount this at the bottom of this piece. Okay, so we're going to be working with Pool Party cardstock that's 2 3/4 inches by 11. It's been folded in half. This is the same dimensions as in my last video, and this is a mini slim card. All right, and then we're going to use this piece that we stamped. This is what's going to go on the top of the card, but we're not going to glue it down. And then we're going to have our little camper go right here. Okay, so we're going to be working with these tiny, tiny magnets, and they're super strong. So this one I'm holding right here is a stack of 4 magnets. So I'm going to take them and I'm going to separate them so that they're 2 separate sets of 2 magnets each, okay? And then I will try to remember to put a link in the video description so you'll know where you can purchase magnets, but I just got these on Amazon. All right, so then I'm going to take these magnets and I'm going to place glue dots on the top of both of these sets. Okay, then I'm going to pick off the set of magnets and I'm going to put behind the camper towards the bottom. Okay, so I've used glue dots and I've added the set of magnets to the back of the camper. So you can see there's a magnet and then another magnet on top. So there's sets of 2 glued to the back of the camper, okay? And that's gonna go right there. Now, in order to make a channel for the magnet to move, we're gonna flip this over and we're gonna use some foam adhesive strips. So I have my foam adhesive strips. I'm gonna go ahead and just take off a big one here. And then I'm going to bring this all the way on the edge like this, all the way across. And then I'm going to use my scissors to cut it. Okay, so I've made a U shape of foam adhesive strips, and I made sure that it's open on the end where we have the congrats. And then whatever piece you're going to place inside this channel, you want to make sure that it's going to fit. So this is a 2-inch piece. This is a 2 1/2 inch piece. So there's a little bit of room in there because we've added the adhesive strips, so that takes up some space, okay? So that looks good. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take the backing off and we're going to glue this down. All right, now to finish up this card, I'm going to take this piece here. Now this is a piece that would go inside like this. All right, I'm going to bring it out and I'm going to lay it on the top of the card. And I'm going to lay it where it's going to line up with the evergreen. The black is going to line up with the evergreen because that's about as far as it sticks out on the card. All right, and then I'm going to notice that where I'm going to put this camper, it's going to be right at the edge of the card there because we have the words that just fit on there. So this camper is going to be right at the edge like that. So I'm going to just mirror that and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to stick it right there, okay? So it's just mirroring off of where I want it to go. Then I'm going to lift this up and carefully separate those magnets. Now before I glue it together, let's check it to make sure that it works. So I'm just going to take a little bit of snail just to do a little temporary adhering to make sure that this is going to work before I glue it all the way down. Sometimes you need to reposition your magnets. All right, so now we've got the magnets in between those 2 layers, and then I'm going to take this and this should stick on there like that, okay? So then we're going to place this piece into the card, and then we pray and I lined it up properly, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it down right there, okay? And then when you pull it, ta-da! Oh, it worked, and then you celebrate. Okay, so now we know that we got the magnets in the right place. We're going to finish this card up. Okay, so I'm going to remove that little temporary adhesive and I'm going to take some liquid glue and I'm just going to place glue all around here on there, and then I'm going to put a couple dots on the back of the magnet and we are going to sandwich this in. Okay, that looks good. All right, and then we are going to go ahead and we are going to glue this piece onto the back. And it's really important that, especially in the front here, when you glue it nice and smooth. So again, I'm going to get my liquid glue out and add some liquid glue and dot that right on top of the magnets. And then we're going to glue this piece on. Okay, so after this is dried, we can go ahead and put this card together. So I'm going to slide this piece in. I'm going to take the camper and drop it on the top there. And then the only thing I did was I just wanted to use the sequence. Just drop one there on the wheel to add a little sequence there. You don't want to do many more embellishments on this because you want to make sure that the camper doesn't get caught on anything. So if you have some sequence here, then as it's sliding, it might get caught. So you want to just have a nice smooth trip across the road. And then of course I did do this as a regular card, so you could write a message here, or you can slide it over and you have the whole back piece here that you could write a message here. Now the reason why we doubled that camper is because then when you slide it back, if you've done everything nice and smooth, the camper can actually jump because you have a nice smooth transition with all those layers there. So you can slide this back in and it'll actually jump really easily back onto the front of the card. So it's very, very fun to do a card like this. Okay, so I hope you like that. And I want to show you one other thing. So because I did not want to waste this piece here, what I did is I took this card and I actually cut it here and I cut it here. And then I cropped it down a little bit. I mounted the whole thing to a Pear Pizzazz base like this, okay? And then I just cut my own little soft succulent banner here with the Adventure Begins. And then I just did the same exact thing I just taught you, but I did it on a really small scale. And that is where you pull the card here, and then you have Let the Adventure Begin, congrats. And then the little camper will jump out onto this piece. But I just felt like this is a better card because on this one you have a lot more room to write your message. It's a lot easier for the camper to jump back and forth like that. But on this one, it's just kind of a little bit more of a flimsy piece, but it still is a beautiful background. Like I said, I just absolutely think these cards were so pretty. So either way, but this is the same exact thing. I just cropped everything down and I made a really small channel. And then I did embellish my little camper with one of the stars in our new sparkly paper. So that is it for my video today. I hope that you liked learning how to make a magnet slider card with the Adventure Begins Paper Pumpkin Kit. It was a lot of fun sharing this project with you today. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. I would love to continue to share my projects with you. And thanks so much for so many of you who have left such positive comments and feedback on my channel. I really appreciate your encouragement and it really brightens my day. I hope you all have a happy and blessed day and I'll see you next time. Until then, aloha.